Everyone thinks web development is oversaturated, and they're right, it is. There are millions of developers flooding the market every year, all fighting for the same entry-level jobs. But what if I told you that saturation is actually the best thing that ever happened to you? Because when everyone's doing the same thing, being even slightly different makes you 100 times more valuable. See, here's what nobody's talking about. The market isn't saturated with developers. It's saturated with people who can't actually build things, and there's a massive difference. In this video, I'm breaking down exactly why everyone's rushing into web development, why 95% of them will fail, and how understanding this makes you virtually unstoppable. Right now, there are millions of people watching web development tutorials on YouTube, learning React, building to-do apps, following the same bootcamp curriculum, and every single one of them thinks they're about to land a six-figure job. Here's why they're all doing it. Web development looks like the easiest path to wealth. No degree required. Learn online for free. Work from anywhere. You've seen the success stories everywhere. How I learned to code in 4 months and got a job. But here's what those stories don't tell you. For every one person who makes it, there are 847 others stuck in what I call tutorial hell, with identical portfolios wondering why nobody will hire them. Because here's the brutal truth. The barrier to entry has never been lower, which means the competition has never been more generic. Let me show you exactly what's happening. Entry-level job postings dropped 67% in the last 2 years. But at the same time, bootcamp graduates increased to nearly 70,000 per year. So you've got fewer jobs and way more applicants. That sounds terrible, right? But here's what nobody's talking about. When researchers surveyed hiring managers, 86% of them said they're still confident hiring bootcamp graduates. The problem isn't supply. It's that most applicants look completely identical. Same projects, same to-do apps, same weather apps, copy-pasted from the curriculum. See, there's a difference between learning to code and learning to build, and most people have no idea this gap exists. Learning to code means you can follow instructions. You watch a 40-hour Udemy course, you copy what the instructor does, you get the same result. But learning to build? That's different. That means you can solve problems you've never seen before. You can architect systems. You can make decisions when there's no tutorial telling you what to do. That's the skill that actually matters. And 95% of people flooding into web development don't have it. Now here's where it gets interesting. Everyone's saying the market is dead, too saturated, impossible to break in. But the data tells a completely different story. There are currently over 220,000 active web developer job openings in the US. About 16,500 new positions open up every single year. Digital transformation isn't slowing down. Every business needs a web presence. E-commerce exploded after the pandemic. SaaS companies are proliferating everywhere. So why are these positions still unfilled if there are millions of developers? Because companies aren't looking for people who can code. They're looking for people who can think. They need developers who can take vague requirements and turn them into working systems, who can debug production issues at 2 a.m., who can make architectural decisions that won't become technical debt nightmares 6 months later. The job description says React developer, but what they actually want is a problem solver who happens to use React. And that's the invisible gap. The market isn't saturated with problem solvers, it's saturated with people who think knowing JavaScript syntax makes them a developer. So here's what this means for you. If you're learning web development right now, or you're struggling to get hired, this is actually incredible news. Because when 95% of people are doing the exact same thing, being even 5% different makes you exponentially more valuable. Here's your playbook. Stop following tutorials and start building real things. Not another to-do app. Solve an actual problem for an actual person. Build something messy. Build something that doesn't have a step-by-step guide. Because here's what happens when you do that. You learn how to handle ambiguity. You make mistakes and figure out how to fix them. You make architectural decisions with real consequences. And that experience, that's what separates you from the 847 tutorial zombies applying to the same job. Second, go deeper than frameworks. Everyone learns React. Cool, but do you understand how JavaScript actually works? Do you know why closures matter? Can you explain the event loop? Most people skip fundamentals to get to the sexy stuff faster. But fundamentals are your moat. They're what allow you to adapt when the next framework drops. They're what make you valuable when the tutorial runs out. Third, specialize in something valuable. Don't be another full-stack developer. Be the person who understands web performance at a deep level, or accessibility, or security, or complex state management. Pick one thing that matters to businesses and become exceptional at it. Because here's the reality. Companies will pay a premium for someone who can solve their specific problem versus someone who knows a little bit about everything. Look, everyone's getting into web development because the barriers are low and the rewards look high. And 95% of them are going to fail. Not because the market is saturated, but because they're chasing a job instead of building a skill. The developers who understand this, the ones who build real things, master fundamentals, and develop specialized expertise, they're about to have an incredible few years. Because when everyone everyone else looks identical, being genuinely different doesn't just make you stand out, it makes you invaluable. The question isn't whether there's room for you in web development. The question is whether you're willing to earn that room by being different than everyone else. Now, if you want to know the exact 5 skills that will make you irreplaceable as a developer, I just broke them down in my last video. Just click it and I'll see you there.